Welcome back to Breaking News with BSU. So, as you guys know, this is our second episode of our podcast, and today we're going to be looking over popular music artist SZA's life mantras, which you may have seen on TikTok, are called Szalations. So, the first one that we're going to go over today is kill that urge to be chosen, just choose yourself. So, what are your thoughts, guys? I think that it's always important to practice self-love, and I think that especially in more recent times, like our generation, like Generation X specifically, it's really hard for people to not want to fit in with the crowd all the time and just constantly like have their life be run by the want to be loved and appreciated by others, which of course is important, but that stuff's not going to come easily, nor is it going to be productive if you're not loving yourself first.
I also think there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to putting your trust and like expectations in other people more than you do for yourself. So it's like you can't control what other people do, but if you control how you treat yourself and what you do for yourself, then you're more content when dealing with other people.
I entirely agree. I think that whether you're religious or not, like the universe or God or however you feel is always working in your favor. But it can only work in your favor so much if you're not working in your own favor. Like, you have to give to get some.
Well, I think it means, like, learning how to be comfortable with yourself and, like, learning how to be comfortable by yourself and not having to depend on somebody else for, like, attention or, like, entertainment and stuff like that.
I agree. I feel as though when you're putting yourself first in a situation, it's not being selfish or it's not being... At the end of the day, you need to be good in order to be good to others. If you're not good, you can't expect to be able to put out good energy for the people around you. So if you're working to better yourself, you're also, at the same time, working to better the surrounding people and the people that you call your friends and family.
I think that's very true. I feel like people can tell when you're not taking care of yourself. So even if you're someone that like puts a lot of energy into doing things for others or being there for others, it's going to show in how you treat them. And if you feel like you're trying to like give it your all, you can't even give it your all if you're not taking care of what you have.
Well, I'm kind of like, it's kind of off topic. It's still about like self-love, but I feel like it's really important, especially when you have to cut off people that are toxic towards you, because it's really easy to make excuses and to say that, like, oh, they're going to change. But like Chloe said, like, you can't control other people's actions. You can only control yours. And the best thing, like, I guess you can do for yourself is think, like, is this harming me? And is it making me, like, not a better person? And if the answer is, like, yeah, it is, the best, I guess, like, self-love you can do is just cut that person off, too.
I also entirely agree. I think it's really unfortunate that a lot of people think that choosing themselves first is selfish or that it doesn't make sense to do that, because at the end of the day, there's nobody else in the world who's going to know you better than you know yourself. And, if everyone else in the world is gone and you woke up and you were the only person left on earth, you're the only person you're stuck with. So you would have to choose yourself in that situation anyway. But there should never be, like, an instance where it needs to get that extreme.
And then to add on to that, like, you also have to be comfortable, like, finding stuff that benefits you and, like, benefits your future. Because, like, at the end of the day, you only have yourself. So it's important that you know, like, who you are inside and what your goals are.
Exactly. Like, obviously we know that SZA is a music artist, and her form of choosing herself and self-love and healing is through her music. I think that a lot of people think that healing or choosing yourself is just going to therapy or, like, doing the work, but also having hobbies, things you're passionate about, a good community and a support system, that all goes into choosing yourself. You're just being an advocate. So, on that note, our second sizzlation for this episode is, with all due respect, sometimes no respect is due. So I'll open up the floor and we can take some thoughts. I think that although respect is important and a foundation in healthy relationships, at the end of the day, you owe nobody anything. If somebody's disrespecting you, or even if they're being respectful, of course it is best for you to give them respect, but not if it's at the endangerment of you. Just sometimes you need to respect yourself more than you need to respect other people. Because I feel like respecting other people can only be at its finest when you respect yourself the most.
I feel like when you really love somebody, or like a close family member, or like a sibling, or you're in a relationship or anything, like a friendship, like you may respect that person and have so much respect for that person, but at the end of the day, like if they do something and it's obviously not right, then no respect is due. So
Yeah, I agree. People have to earn respect.
right.
And I feel as though you can only give so much respect to a person that you just met. You need to build a bond and build a connection with that person and gradually give them respect and gradually gain trust and confidence between the friendship or relationship that you guys have. You can't just go around and give people respect, because that's when people will begin to walk over you, or people will begin to think that they're better than you in certain ways, when that's not the case. You also need to learn to respect yourself as much as you respect others, because once again, if you're not doing stuff for yourself, you're not able to do that with... Sorry about that. Like I was saying, basically, you need to have respect for yourself in order to give it to the people around you. Like we were saying in the other example that we were just talking about prior to this, in order to, once again, benefit the people around you, you have to do stuff to benefit yourself. And this same idea can be in place for this. You need to have respect for yourself in order to give the proper respect to other people around you.
I think intention is also important. Like the beginning of the statement says, with all due respect. Like if you intend to give out respect, you know your intentions are pure. So if someone shows you that they don't deserve respect, it's okay to not give that if you know that they're not worthy of something that you're confident in giving someone else.
I also, I feel like mainly, if you give respect to people, that's because you respect yourself. Or, your reasoning for giving respect shouldn't be for the validation of others. It should be for yourself. But also, just because someone, disrespects you doesn't, you can disrespect them back, but I feel like if you do it back, then it's just a cycle, kind of. You do it, so I'm going to do it. Or, just kind of, pettiness a little bit. And I feel like that is a little bit toxic because, if you are a giving person and you give someone a gift, you shouldn't expect a gift in return, if you kind of, get what I'm saying. But, yeah.
This is really funny because y'all can't see us, but we're over here nodding our heads, all yeah, but we can't really say anything. But I entirely agree. I don't even think it's just a little bit toxic. I think it's toxic, period, which defeats the whole point of self-respect. I've always hated the idea of, respect is implied, because it's not. Especially when it comes to respecting your elders, I think that should always be the baseline. Yes, respect your elders. But I feel like it shouldn't only be because they're older than you. Yes, there is a certain, I don't want to say power stature, but there is a difference between a child and an adult. But adults also aren't always right. And yes, they do know better than us sometimes, but that doesn't, if they're always disrespectful to you and harming you, with all due respect, no respect is due.
I agree. I also think that, we are all humans, and we all make mistakes, and we all are going to disappoint each other at some point, no matter, what relationship you're in. And I feel as though, an adult can learn something from a kid, and a kid can learn from an adult. So, like, it really just has to do with, I feel like with your parents, it's normal for you to respect them because they're your parents. Like, if they give you stuff, if they provide you with, like, house, food, and shelter, that's, like, the bare minimum. But they make sacrifices for you, and respecting them is normal. But, like Kaylin said, like, if they're constantly harming you, it's okay to be like, why are you doing this? Or asking them why they're treating you that way.
And I think also one of like the red flags about that is that respect is an action. It's not an idea or something you just say like, I respect you. It's something that you can see and feel coming from someone. So even if someone tells you that they respect you, if you can't see it in their actions towards you, then it's not respect, meaning that they probably don't deserve the same in return.
Also, on a final note for this, respect isn't the same for everybody or every relationship. A little piece of advice to everybody listening, I think it's always important to clarify with whoever you're in a relationship, friendship, connection with. Hey, what makes you feel respected? Here's what makes me feel respected. Here's how we can achieve this. Because if you think that you're, doing everything you can to respect this person, and they feel underappreciated, obviously there's a disconnect. So, respect is an action. It's not just an abstract concept, and it doesn't quite have a definition. You make your own definition for respect. Now, our last distillation for this episode, and arguably the most annoying one for us to talk about, is sometimes asking questions is disrespectful to your own intuition. You know what's going on, now you need to act accordingly. This is frustrating to think about, especially in the teenage world, as you're navigating new friendships, especially romantic relationships, because it is very hard to live in reality at all times. So when you know exactly what's going on, but all the fantasies you came up with are combating this reality, it is the most annoying thing. Now, SZA is absolutely right in the statement, but that doesn't make it harder to actually internalize.
I think it's important to remember that your gut is something that is there for a reason. You have a conscience for a reason.
Trust your gut. Whatever you do, trust your gut.
Trust your gut. Listen to your conscience. It's telling you something. And I know it's easy to get self-conscious about this, especially if you believe in someone or believe in something taking place. You don't want to believe the worst or that a situation can change. But if your gut is telling you, especially if it's consistent, you have to believe that.
It's also kind of having no expectations and accepting reality, because once you decide who a person is in your head before you get to know them, it kind of just messes you up. It messes that relationship up from the beginning, because you never actually got the chance to know them as a person. They're not going to meet your expectations all the way, because they are human. They're not, I don't know, you know what I mean? I was like,
unfortunately, I know exactly what you mean. I think that all three of these statements really go hand in hand, because you can't really do much with your gut if, one, you don't choose yourself, and two, you don't respect yourself. If you aren't in tune with yourself, then your gut's not going to be in tune. So therefore, you're just going to be more inclined to not trust yourself, which again is one of the most important facets of your life and your own development.
And I think if you don't trust yourself, it's so hard to trust other people. It's okay to be comfortable with not having trust issues or things like that. But if you're questioning yourself constantly, you're going to fall into questioning other people. And that leads into ruining relationships and ruining interactions before you even give people a chance or give yourself a chance to learn how other people are.
I also totally agree with you, Chloe. I just think that if more people internalized what we're talking about and what is being presented in the media, it would just lead to smoother sailing relationships. I think that social media has a lot to do with the lack of trusting other people and not trusting yourself, because see a lot that is not real, not true on social media. But at the end of the day, you actually know these people, like typically assuming you know these people in real life, you know what's going on. You can see them in the hallways, you see them around town. So, you know, if you're like, oh, well, they posted this on social media, so they must be this. Like, no, that's definitely not how it works.
I feel like the quote means, like, stop asking questions when you know the answer. Like, stop questioning things when you know what's going to happen, when you know the outcome. Like, just accept the outcome, accept what you know, and move on.
Right.
And not to say that it's easy, like, you also have to accept that it's hard. Like, it is not going to be easy to always accept reality and accept what's going on in your life, but it's worth it. It's worth trying. It's worth, I guess, going through, because at the end of the day, you are going to be okay. Like, it always works out. You just have to put that effort in. The only time when it doesn't work out is when you don't do anything. You do nothing to help your mental health and to help yourself process whatever's going on.
And then this all ties back to the statement that has been prevalent in all three of these Szalations, is that you have to do things for yourself in order to better your outcome or your surrounding environment. Everything starts with you, which means you need to be first. Without you, there's virtually nothing. So always make sure, and I feel as though what Sis is also trying to say in a lot of her stuff, is that you need to prioritize yourself and put yourself first, no matter what.
So on that note, we're closing episode 2 of Breaking News with BSU. We're all signing out. See you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.